In this video, I'm going to teach you how to get 30 sources on your research topic in 15 minutes or less. So why would we need to do this? Well, when you start a new research project, one of the typical mistakes that I see students making is they go straight to the first source that they find and try to read about their topic in that one source, instead of taking a broad view of the research and collecting lots of different sources that are available on their topic and then evaluating which source to begin with. So what we're going to do in this video is take a bit of a different approach to how we learn about a new research project. I'm creating this video for my music history students for their music history research projects. But this can also be used, this approach can also be used in any research topic that you need to address in your university studies or as a professional. So what I will do is I'm first going to give you the steps and tell you what they are. I'm going to give you a couple preliminary points, things that you need to know about this process. And then I'm going to actually do this process. I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes and try to find 30 sources on that topic within that 15 minutes. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's define what a bibliography sprint is, what are the outcomes, and what are the steps. So if you want to read about this, you can go to my website, mark-samples.com, or you can just search Mark Samples Bibliography Sprint, and you'll find this page. I've also linked it in the description to this video. But what we can see is that the steps are right here. Step 1 is to list your topic. Step 2 is to define your search terms. Include search terms that zoom in and zoom out so that you have a broad starting point for collecting items on your topic. Step 3 is to check the bibliographies in other sources, such as your textbooks for further reading section and related entries in the Grove Dictionary of Music and Musicians or any reference resource in your discipline. Add those resources to your list. Step 4 is to search your library's online catalog and add the relevant scholarly books to your list. Step 5 is to search online databases of scholarly articles and add those to your list. And finally, step 6 is to search scholar.google.com and add selected resources to your list there. So in a different video, which I will also link below in the description, I go through my entire sequence of recommended actions to take in the first 2 hours of research on a new topic. This video covers just one slice of that overall plan, which is when you are trying to get 30 sources in 30 sources on your topic, period. And so in this video, I'm giving you the details on how to go about doing that. So let's talk about some things that you should know before you start. Before you begin this search, you want to set up a couple tools, make sure you understand a couple approaches that will help you as you search. First, you want to download a reference manager software program if you haven't already, such as Zotero or Mendeley. I'm going to be using Zotero. And the purpose of this piece of software is to quickly collect and store the source information of all of the sources that you're going to find. The next thing you want to do is you want to install that reference manager's web browser plugin. All this means is that you can then have a button to click as you're searching in the web browser, have a button to click that will automatically pull the information and bring it into your reference manager software. Let me give you an example of what that looks like, going here to the Chrome browser and going to Zotero.org. This is where you can download the software. And once you click download, and you can download this here, you also want to install the Zotero connector for Chrome. When you end up installing that, you will get a little icon up here that looks like it. Actually, the icon changes, but depending on what page you're on, but it will have an icon here that is your Zotero connector. What that does is it reads the information on the web page that you are viewing and is able to pull out the information that's there and put it in Zotero. Once you download and install Zotero, it will look something like this with your library folder and then individual folders underneath it. I am going to be doing my example research here on a topic called Verdi research. So I've started a new folder here, and we will put all of our information in this new folder at that as we go along. So now we have set up the Zotero reference manager, we've installed the web connector, and we have created a folder for our research. So those are some of the important things that you need to do before you get started on this. So a couple things to keep in mind as we get started. You want to collect scholarly sources in this search as opposed to non-scholarly sources. Now, as you get more advanced in your research, you'll deal even more with what are called primary sources, but at this point you'll want to collect mostly secondary sources just to see what is available and known about your topic. So we want scholarly secondary sources. Then you want to take the time to check the bibliographic information at the point of entry to make sure that your records are correct. Next, I want you to know that you don't have to have a source in your possession to collect it at this stage. You can acquire those sources that are important at a later step. If you're going through your search and you don't know whether or not you should collect a source or if it will be useful, just collect it anyway. That way you can sort these things out later. If something turns out to not be useful, you can remove it later. And one important caveat is that if you go through these steps and you're unable to find enough sources on your topic, it may be that your topic is not positioned well, or maybe is not defined well enough for you to find those sources yet. So you want to reevaluate your topic, restate it, and begin your search again. Okay, so we're going to be using the example throughout this demonstration of Verdi's style from early to late. So we're imagining that I'm doing a research project on Giuseppe Verdi, the Italian opera composer. And in my paper, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about yet, but I am going to, I think it's going to be something about comparing two pieces, one early in his career and one late in his career, and see if I can compare what his style is like and his compositional approach is like, comparing one to the other. And as I define my search terms, I'm going to want to write out some examples. So some Verdi topic search terms might be simply Verdi or style, early style, late style. Rigoletto, I know, is an early opera that he wrote. La Traviata is another early opera, so I could use either of these search terms. And Otello, I know, is a late opera. Another one I could add here is Falstaff. And so these are the terms that I'm going to use in my search. Some are broader, some are more specific. I might combine some of these. Okay, so once I have these search terms, I want to check the bibliographies of others. Now, step 3 here in the For Further Reading section, and then the Grove Dictionary of Music and Musicians, I'm not going to do those steps in this video. I'm going to assume that you have already done these steps in a previous step. And again, if you want to get the details on that, see my other video that I mentioned earlier on what to do in the first 2 hours of research. But I'm going to start from 0 and go straight to the searching of scholarly books, scholarly articles, and the following steps. So we'll start with the library website, and we'll collect scholarly books. Then we will collect scholarly articles from JSTOR and also from Google Scholar. And then hopefully at the end of this search, we will have at least 30 sources. And at the end of the search, we will know exactly where to go next in our research and start evaluating these sources for their appropriateness and their significance with regard to my research topic. Okay, so I think that's all for the preliminaries. We're going to be going back and forth. I'm going to leave this blog post up here, and I'm going to be going back and forth between the search page and then to the steps. And we're going to go step by step from step 4 to the end. All right. Over here, I've got my timer at eggtimer.com, and I'm going to set up 15 minutes, and we're going to see if we can get 30 sources, okay? So this will be unedited. You'll get the mistakes and all, because this is meant to give you a sense of what it actually looks like to see if we can do it. Okay, the goal is 30 sources. The rules have been set. I think we should get started. So with that, let's go. 15 minutes on the clock. Step 4 is to collect scholarly books. So I am here at my library website. I'm going to immediately go to advanced search, and let's put in subject contains Giuseppe Verdi, and let's go material type is print books. I'm just looking for print books here. I'll look for other types of sources later. So I'm clicking search, and as I scroll down, I realize that I just spelled his name wrong. Okay, it happens. So let's try again. Great. So I'm seeing some books already here. The Verdi Companion, I'll probably want that. A print book on Verdi. You know what I'm seeing here is that this one was written in 1949, and I do not want sources that are this old. I want to start with recent sources. So I'm going to go back up to my my search here and delineate the publication date. And I know that I want to at least not go past 1980 at this point. So I will have the start date as 1980 and the end date as just blank, and that will mean all the way up to today. Let's try this again. Okay, good. So let's see some of these books now. What I want to do is evaluate and see which ones I want to collect. So the Verdi Baritone looks like a good one that I might want to collect. So let's click into that and see what happens. Okay, Jeffrey Edwards, this is 1994, the Verdi Baritone. And it's actually in my library, so that one might be even more useful to me. So now what you'll notice is that up here in the top right, that Verdi connector, the Zotero connector button has changed to a book icon. If I click this, it pulls up this dialog box, and this is reading my Zotero, my Zotero software program, and it's automatically putting it in my last selected, library or folder or collection as they call it, and it's asking me which one do I want to put it in. Well, that's the one I want, so it's saving that. Now if you look over here at your Zotero, that source has already been added. All of this information was automatically added, including the call number. So we have the item type, the title, the author, the place, the publisher, and the date. Those are the elements that I need to have. So as you can see, I've just gotten my first source, and we have 12 minutes to go. So why don't we speed up a little bit here? The next thing I want to do is I want to go back to this search page, and there are several of these books that I want to get. So to make it easier, I'm going to look through them. I want this one, that one, this one, this one. Verdi's Middle Period, I definitely want that one as a counterpoint. A biography on Verdi. A book about Otello. This is one of the operas that we were looking for. We want that one. Encounters with Verdi, that's maybe a memoir. And the story of Giuseppe Verdi, and that's another opera, Un ballo in maschera. So really, I want all of these. Let me show you a trick with Zotero connector. When I'm on a search results page and I see this folder icon, that means I can get multiple resources at the same time. And what I just said was I want all of these resources on this page in my preliminary bibliography, because I want to review all these sources. So I'm going to click OK. And as you can see, this is now putting all of these in my Zotero bibliography. That means that we have quite a few sources already. 10 items. Okay, so we just, wow, we went from 1 to 10 in about a minute. So this is great. I think let's go to the second page here. Let's load some more items. So we ended with the story of Giuseppe Verdi. This is looking very promising. Okay, page 2. Simon Boccanegra, discography. I don't want the Requiem right now, at least. Verdi in the Age of Italian Romanticism. Source book, that looks good. Leonore's Last Act. Otello and Simon Boccanegra in Letters and Documents. That one looks great because it's going to give me letters that Verdi himself wrote. Here's a book on Falstaff. Okay, I want all of these. Okay, great. I'm going to go back up to my connector, and I'm going to just go past the one I've already gotten and get Simon Boccanegra, not the discography, not the Requiem, but yes, Verdi in the Age of Romanticism, Verdi's Macbeth, Leonora, Otello, Falstaff, Macbeth, and ooh, this one compares Mozart and Verdi. Let's get that one for now, just in case it becomes helpful later. Okay, so I've just saved all of these to my to Zotero. As you can see, we are really off to a great start. We have 18 items out of 30, and this is just our first step. Okay, and we didn't even include the previous steps, which would have already given us some resources. Okay, so you're going to want to keep going in your library to find scholarly books on your topic. What I'm finding, though, is that these are a lot of resources, maybe more than I can get through in my paper. So I'm now thinking I need to narrow this. I need to narrow my topic to something that is a bit more specific. And so I'm thinking, let's say, I was seeing some on Macbeth. I was seeing some about Otello. So I'm going to start looking for Verdi and specific operas. So my step 2 here is to go and look for scholarly articles. I'm going to look in JSTOR, which is a database of scholarly articles that my library has access to. So in order to do that, I've gone back to the library website, library webpage here. I've gone to Find Materials and Databases, and that will give me this alphabetical listing. So let's go find JSTOR. JSTOR is a fantastic database for scholarly journal articles that have access to music articles. So this is JSTOR. I want to use the advanced search, and let's do one of our other search terms, Verdi and style. Let's do that. Okay, Verdi style. Let's leave this as content I can access. Let's select articles here. We only want articles. And let's narrow this to English. Unless you speak other languages, let's just narrow that to English. Let's put in 1980 here so that we only get articles after 1980. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually say articles after 2010. That will give us more recent scholarship. And then the last thing I want to do here is filter this for the topic of music. So JSTOR has access to 77 titles in music, and I want to just search those for now. Okay, let's go ahead and submit the advanced search and see what we get here. Let's check our time here, 6 minutes. Okay, we can only take a couple minutes here. So this is an article, Verdi at 200, Recent Scholarship on the Composer. Film Music Bibliography, Verdi's Don Carlos and its Parisian Critics, Orating Verdi, Building a Representative Corpus. Okay, now this one looks interesting. I'm going to click on it. So I'm now looking at the particular item, and I definitely want to get this one. So I'm going to go up to my Zotero connector here, and I'm going to save to Zotero. Now here is another really cool thing about Zotero, is that Zotero can actually pull the PDFs of these articles and automatically put them with that bibliographic reference. So I want to download the PDF and accept that. So then I can download the PDF and attach it to that item, okay? And the way I would do that, just to show you very quickly, is to select it and put it on top there. Now that has been attached, okay? So I can always get back to that. Let's now go back to the search results and select several items that we think we want to capture here. So we got that one. Let's definitely open up let's refresh this page. Okay, so let's get this one. And grab that one. So you notice that once I accepted the terms to download PDFs, now Zotero is actually pulling that PDF automatically from JSTOR. Okay? So now when I go and see this one, AIDA on AIDA, let's see, that the PDF has actually already been put in there. Okay, 4 minutes left. Let's go a little bit more quickly here. I'm going to go back here and change my search. Let's get some specifically on Otello. So I'm changing my search to Otello with everything else the same. And I'm going to get this one, definitely. Comparing Verdi's Otello to Rossini's Otello. Okay, so we want to get that one. Let's go back here. Sometimes what I like to do is open these up in different tabs, in new tabs. So I'm going to command click or control click on Windows and get some of these going here. Okay, great. So now these are up here in new tabs. I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to grab this one, this one, this one, and this one. Okay, now I would keep going on this if I wasn't on a timer here. But the last thing I want to do is I want to see what Google Scholar can bring for us. And we have 3 minutes to get, let's see, how many do we need here? We are already at 27 items. Okay, so let's go here. Let's use quotes. So actually, let's go Verdi, and then let's search this one, La Traviata, and let's search style. Okay, so this gives me, so it's scholar.google.com. It gives me books and articles as well. So let's click this folder icon and select the ones that we want. I definitely want this Sounds of Paris. I want genre and content in mid-century Verdi. I want Verdi the Craftsman, this one on La Traviata, and then the influence of Aubé, and then Traviata and Oedipus. So I'm going to click OK. That's pulling those to my Zotero file already. And that's already 33 items, and we have 2 minutes left to go. So look, we've already gotten our goal. Let's see how much farther we can go. I think what I want to do is make the range very, very recent. So one of the things I want to do when I'm searching is, what is the most recent scholarship on my topic? So let's say in the last 3 years, what in the world has been going on? So creation style and artistic features. Okay, no, I'm going to skip that. This book on La Traviata is very recent, so I'm going to pay attention to that one. I think I already have it. Okay, let's see. What else? Emotional expression in variety of musical styles. Form and style in Verdi's famous arias. That looks interesting. Italians abroad, Verdi's La Traviata and the 1906 Milan Exposition. And then tenor arias by Donizetti, Puccini, and Verdi. Let's get just those 3, and then we will call it good. So we wanted this one, I think, this one, and this one. Let's get those. Okay, so now with Scholar, Google Scholar, it also can pull in the full text PDFs. So let's see how many we have now. We have 36 items, so we have met our goal. And now with each of these, we have all of the information, okay? And so we have even 35 seconds to spare. And So we've done it. We have gotten over 30 sources in 15 minutes with explanations of what I'm doing along the way. So hopefully you can see that, we'll go ahead and close this. Hopefully you can see that with just a little bit of effort, if you follow the rules of just collecting and not reviewing these sources at this point, you can actually gain a very clear and broad picture of the type of research and the type of scholarship that's already out there on your topic. So let me give you one final bonus here. And the bonus is if you need to, let's say, turn in a bibliography to your instructor. Well, this is also easy to do with Zotero. So what I'm going to do is Command A or Control A to select all. I'm going to go to Edit and copy Bibliography. I'm going to select that. Then I'm going to go over here and start a Word file. So I'm opening up Microsoft Word, starting a blank document. Okay, now I can give this a title. So let's call this Mark Samples. Actually, let's go Verity Research Preliminary Bibliography. Now I'm going to click, I can do Command V or I can go Edit, Paste. Oops, let me try that again. So I'll go Command V. And what I've just gotten here is an automatically created bibliography in alphabetical order. It's not perfect, it's not pretty, but it is a starting bibliography. It doesn't need to look pretty yet. This is just for you to know where to look. Now, some of these citations I'm probably not going to end up keeping once I see what they are. But at least I'm working with a much more abbreviated list than all scholarship ever written. So a couple characteristics of this preliminary bibliography are that they're all recent, so all since 1980, and some very recent in the last couple years. It's also now a list that can help guide the next steps of my research as I now go to evaluate which sources are interesting or which sources will be helpful in the next steps of my process. So to review what we've done here, we have in actually under 15 minutes, we've gotten more than 30 sources. These sources are now stored in a reference manager, and in this reference manager, I will be able to review scholarly articles because, you know, anything with a drop down here likely has a PDF. So if I want to go back and say, what was this one here? I can double click on this PDF and I can see where this comes from and actually start reading it. Okay, and then I can highlight things and I can do my research, the next steps of my research. I also now am able to manage all of my sources so that when I go to write the paper, I can even use Zotero to insert my bibliographic citations and references there. So more on that in a future video. Okay, that does it for this video. Thanks so much for sticking with this to the end. I hope that you've been able to see that if you know the rules and if you know a couple tricks and have a plan, you can get 30 sources and many more in a very, very short amount of time. If you use this process at the beginning of your research journey, you not only will impress your instructor, you will also have a really strong understanding of the sources that are available to you as you get started. And in the end, this will save you loads of time as you then go to evaluate your resources and start to figure out where your topic is taking you. Thanks so much for watching this. If you want to see other videos on the research process, look in the description below where I've linked a couple other resources that might be interesting to you. Be sure to find the link to the blog post where these steps are described so that you can follow along in your own research process. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.